Well, good afternoon. We have a nice crowd of ladies here and some very beautiful quilts. My goodness, you probably know more than I do. I'd like to introduce my helpers. Michael Hathaway is from St. John, but he is the director of the Stafford County Museum. And this is Pat Houston. She is on our board. They are going to be my helpers today. We're going to do a bed turning to introduce you to some of our quilts. We have approximately 60 quilts hanging. We started the project in 2015 because we found quilts that were in boxes and trunks, and we needed to preserve them and take care of them and put them where people can enjoy them. The first quilt we're going to talk about here is a log cabin. It was made in 1890 by Sarah McCandless. It was made, the blocks are made on a backing sheet. It was never completed. In the log cabin, which is one of our oldest patterns, the center block represents the heart of the home. I'm sure all these fabrics were dresses, skirts, shirting, some flour sacks. Yes, lots of flour sacks. Let's go to the next. This is one of our fans' crazy quilts. It's a nice pattern because it does do something more than just do the crazy quilt. It was done in Christmas of 1911, and the center block says Mother. All of the blocks have names in them of people who probably did the block, and it's just beautiful. It was hand stitched, hand put together. The intricate embroidery they used as the quilting, so to hold the layers together. There's no history on this quilt. Michael and I found this in a trunk in the top of the Farmers National Bank building when we were searching for quilts. So we don't know who made it. We don't know where it came from. Yes, a lot of them are Mrs. that misses somebody instead of their first name. I guess that was a tradition way back when. Yeah, yeah. This is our World War I friendship quilt. It was made in 1940, I think it's 40. I'm not World War I. Okay, anyway, let's go back here. There are 408 blocks. People paid $1 to have their name quilted or embroidered on the block. It was a money raiser for the Red Cross, and then it was auctioned off. If you want to find out if some of your ancestors are on this, we do have a book that has an alphabetical listing of every name. Obviously, with 408 blocks, it made $408. They used that money for the Red Cross. Then it was auctioned off, and H.C. Paulson, I don't know what Paulson family that was, but he won the quilt, or bought it. Then it was turned back, and they auctioned it off several more times. And that very day, they made $4,246 on the quilt. That money went to buy supplies for things they made for the soldiers at the time. Mr. Paulson gave the quilt to Jack Hunter. They were farm neighbors. Jack gave it to the Stafford Larrabee Library. Then it was given to the museum in 1981. The quilt was made by the Stafford women. This quilt was also a fundraiser. It was made by the ladies of the Stafford Methodist Church. The wheels have names on them. You could pay to put your name on it. We also have, excuse me, we have a listing of all the names. Michael and I went through every quilt, and we have a lot of signature quilts and friendship quilts, and wrote down every name. So if you want to find, if somebody had a name on the quilt, we can help you find that. We have lots of them. The Eastern Star quilt has names. Lots of our signature quilts and friendship quilts have names. This crazy quilt was made by Margaret Blackburn Mcmillan. She was from 1871 to 1935. She was the wife of William Meade Mcmillan, 1867 to 1943. It was made from all of his suits. It's made totally of wool. They used it on their farm, and it was given to the museum by Susie Mcmillan, who was Alan Mcmillan's wife, and he was the grandson of William Mcmillan. Susie is the president of the, I'm not good with mics, the president of the board for the museum at the present time. This is a Turkish red quilt. The red fabric was very popular back then. It was just red. The 9 patch has a half square triangle corner. It was put together by hand. It was quilted by machine, one of our first machine quiltings. It was purchased and donated to the museum at Wanda Hearn's sale. I do think that Wanda's mother-in-law probably made it, but I don't know that for sure. This is another quilt that came from Wanda's sale. Her mother-in-law did make this. It's called the postage stamp. She made 2 of these. And if you know quilting, you know each one of those little bitty blocks was cut by hand. She made them for her twin sons, Marion and Melvin. Fantastic. Just can't say enough about it. It's beautiful. But it must have taken forever. And especially if she made 2 of them. Well, that's true. If she had twins, when did she have time? This is Grandmother's Flower Garden, and I see we have several here. A very old pattern. Most of these patterns, like the Flower Garden and Dresden Plate and Double Wedding Ring, were very popular in the 30s. The Kansas City Star printed a pattern in the newspaper. I think it was weekly, and they're very collectible now if you can find them. Lots of strange names and real weird stuff. This quilt was made by Edna Tuckwood Hearn also, and it was purchased at Wanda's sale. It's machine pieced, and the hexagon pieces were each cut separately. So that was a lot of cutting. Beautiful colors, shirtings, dress fabrics, very pretty. This is one of our many signature quilts, friendship quilts. This was made by Ye Old Time Club in 1956. Some of the names on there you might recognize. It was from that area. The fans are appliqued, on the green squares and then set with the pink. It was, the names have been hand embroidered in black floss. The blocks are made machine pieced, and the quilting is done with green thread by hand. This 8-point star quilt was made by Clara Hoffman Kanoki, February 21st, 1891 to February 10th, 1950. She made this for her granddaughter, Marjorie Bell Walker. She made a quilt for each of her granddaughters, and she had 17. So, took a lot of time. Yes. The stars are dress materials from her daughter's dresses. It was set with the pink shirting, which was another real popular setting at that time. It was it was machine quilted and machine pieced, which is one of our first machine ones. I'm sure it was done on a treadle machine, had to be. But I don't know how anybody could do that. I certainly couldn't. This is my quilt that my grandmother made for me, Hulda Gerdes. She was a Kanoki, and she made this in the late 50s, I do believe. The dresses material on the girls was dresses, and of course she matched it with the solid colors. It's set on point. It was hand appliqued with black stitching. I don't know why she did that, but it looks good to me. I've enjoyed it very much. The quilting is hand quilted. She did 11 stitches to the inch. Very, very, time consuming. She did make one for my sister too, but it was set on scrape, so mine's wider than hers. I guess that's because I was heavier than her. Well, instead of being the blocks running this way, the point is the top. This friendship quilt was created by the First Baptist Church of St. John in 1930. Donated by Mary Margaret Boyles in 1990. There are 83 signatures in the white half of the half-square triangles. The center block reads St. John, Kansas, and Saint is written out, 1930. The blocks are set on point. It was hand quilted, hand pieced, and Rose Wilkinson, Stafford, Kansas, 1930, is embroidered on the back of the quilt. We assume that she did the embroidery. We do have a book that tells you who signed this one also. Yes, some of them are upside down because when they were given the white block, they didn't know which way to turn it. So that's the end. You don't need to just leave that one there. That's fine. Do we have any questions or comments? No. We have some that are just half like a twin bed, and we have some that are like for even queen size now. We have them all hung. We have about 60 quilts hung in the museum. We had about a 4-year trial trying to find what we wanted to do with the quilts. We hung them each so you can see the entire quilt. We can hang 2 to a rack. The racks can be moved without touching the quilts. And they're all numbered so you can look in our book. and find the quilt, tell about it, and if it has names on it, the names are all listed in this book. So you can go through and find the name that you know or people you see. I found my grandmother in here. Didn't know she even quilted. My other grandmother, I mean my dad's mother. Yeah. Any more comment? The quilts have been donated either by the person that has them or somebody who bought them and donated them to us. When we started the quilt project, we wanted to hang the quilts so that you could see the front and the back. Well, now we're getting so many quilts that you cannot see the back enough unless you pick up the second quilt. But we have racks that if you go to like Lowe's or someplace where they sell rugs and you see the swinging, that's what we've done with our quilts. We also have a number of treadle machines, other fancy handwork, all kinds of things. I do wish you would come and see the quilts. It is a county museum. Talking too fast here. It's been very exciting. I've really loved doing it. It's wonderful. Okay, the museum is open Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 3:30. But if you have a group that wants to come, we welcome them. We will make arrangements. Somebody will take you through. You need to stop at the office, and Michael will open the building for you if it's just a regular day. But if you have a group that wants to come, I'd be happy to show you through. When we were getting ready for this, we found a tapestry that was made in 1844 that had been framed in a large photo frame. When we took it out of the frame, because it was backed with cardboard, which is not good for textiles, we found a picture of a woman, beautiful portrait, and it had a little flower down in the corner. But so we preserved that, but we had the tapestry reframed and conserved. It's just amazing, 1844. We have several other old pieces of fabric too. Oh. They did use old quilts or to bat for your batting. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, you had to use what you had, to make your quilts. Well, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Well, I just read an article the other day that they're suggesting that you use a pool noodle and roll your quilt. There's several ways to fold them so that you don't have that crease down the center. You just kind of fold them oddly, but that was what I read the other day, was they're suggesting pool noodles to roll them. Thank you very much.
Okay, we did have a little silent auction back there, and we had a little action, a bidding war here, but I thought I would tell you who the winners were. That money will go into our fund for Lunch and Learn, so it'll come back into more programs. So Next year, I'm already talking to Marcelin about what can we do for a program next year because we plan to do the Quilt Show again in October, the last Wednesday next year. Okay, winners of the Baby B quilt is number 18. Who is number 18? Charles won it. Okay, I think he was bidding against his wife, weren't you? Okay, thank you. The little monkey quilt was won by bidder number 3. Number 3. Okay, my sister-in-law, and she's not here. Okay, Janet Richardson. Okay. The baby bear quilt was won by number 6. Okay, thank you, Mary. And the queen size quilt was won by number 9. And I happen to know that that is Todd Wyckoff. He stopped in after the commission meeting this morning and he bought a quilt. So thank you for contributing to our education fund there through the Lunch and Learn. So feel free to stay and visit and look at the quilts. Anybody's got questions? If you want to go over towards your quilt, if somebody's got a question about your quilt, they may be wanting to talk to you. So that would be perfect if you wanted to do that. We'd love to get your pictures. And then I do have some bags if you need them to put your quilts in to protect them. I saved the ones that came in. So if you need a bag to take it home in, I've got one. So thank you.